who had kept thy sons and shut up.
So the Egyptians was worthy of the punishments they suffered, the plagues they suffered, because they kept the sons of God shut up in captivity. And what else?
By whom the uncorrupt light of the law was given unto the world.
By whom what?
The uncorrupt light of the law was to be given unto the world.
So that's the point. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are the children of Israel, and we were put on this earth to govern this earth by the laws of the Most High God. That's who this word was given to. How you doing? You got a question?
No,
Just looking?
I'm a believer in God.
You're a believer in God? Well, let me ask you this. Do you believe in God's judgment?
I believe that God judges, I do.
So what do you think about all the atrocities that happened to the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans here in America? The slavery, the whippings, the yokes of iron on neck and mouth and head. What do you think about the burnings? What do you think about the Emmett Tills? What do you think about how blacks are gunned down innocently by police today? What do you think about all these things? You think it's terrible? Do you think that the Most High God has a judgment for a whole nation of people that did this to another nation of people?
I think God judges us by our hearts, not by our actions.
If you mean your hearts, he sees, he knows everybody's hearts or minds, and he definitely judges those things. But let me ask you this question: do you think that he judges whole people groups? Do you think that he gives judgments to nations of people?
He judges all by our hearts.
But he does. Let me ask you a question. But does he judge nations though? Let me show you. Give me that Isaiah chapter 14. Now, I'm just trying to show you something real quick. So the reason that these things happen to our ancestors is as punishments as a nation. So even the righteous got punished with the wicked. And these punishments came down as a punishment for disobeying God and following the ways of all the other nations. For not keeping the commandments of God. Not being the people that we just read about, that the laws and word of God was given to govern the world with. Instead of governing the world with righteous laws, with the word of God, we fumbled that and we followed all the other nations, the idolatries, the child sacrifices, the worshiping Virgin Marys and crosses and all those type things. That's why this happened. So, but it happened to a people. Like, you familiar with Daniel? Daniel was in what? But he was in the lion's den, yeah, but where was he at and who put him in the lion's den? I'll let you know. He was in captivity to the Babylonians. And the king Nebuchadnezzar put him in the lion's den because all the other nations that hate the Israelites put a plot on Daniel because he was favored by the king. Anyway, they convinced the king to put him in the lion's den. But the point I was making is Daniel was in captivity to the Babylonians. So all the people, all Judea was conquered by Babylon and taken, either slaughtered or taken into captivity. Now, the whole people, right? Daniel was a righteous man, but he still found himself in captivity. And not only that, he was a eunuch. He was in the eunuch's house. You know what happens to eunuchs? Eunuchs lose their reproductive parts. So you would think about that like, man, that's rough. That's harsh, right? And Daniel was righteous. But that happened because the nation got a punishment. For as a nation, as a family, we broke the Most High's commandments. Right. So the point I was asking you is, do you believe that the Most High God, he punishes nations? Yeah, he does individuals. But does he punish nations? And you said you don't know, so I wanted to show you.
No, I now that you explain it to me, I do believe that. Because the Bible says he sent plagues because of the sins that we were committing. So I do believe in the future that he will curse our nation and do something in order
Right,
to put
all
us back
praises,
on track.
because that's true. So that's what I was going to show you. So all these things happen by a particular nation of people, right? And there's judgment coming for all the atrocities that happened to our people through the course of 400 years in America. So I want to show you that. Also, I want to get Isaiah, I think it's 60:14. Is that the one?
What's your denomination? I guess.
Yeah, the bow to the Israelites. Huh?
Don't you guys like claim to be?
Oh, what do we proclaim to be?
Yeah, like what are
Well,
your beliefs?
we know factually by the Bible, history, archaeology, that we are the true descendants of Israel. All the people on this side that's been through all the atrocities here in America fit the curses and the characteristics of the children of Israel in the Bible, and where they would be and what they would be going through in prophecy. So the only way we're not the children of Israel is if this Bible doesn't count. If it's a fictional book, but this book is the Word of God, and the prophecies, all of them that are not going to happen later, that all the prophecies he gave, they really happened. Well, some of those prophecies is the lynchings, the yokes of iron on neck, all the things that happened to us in America.
I'm so
But you're confused? So we're the children of Israel. We're the Israelites according to the Bible.
okay. So
Okay?
are you
So like we're
saying-
called African American. We're called Puerto Ricans. We're called,
So are you saying white? Because I don't see what that's the only.
we'll get to that because,
So why wouldn't white people be in that category?
well, listen, we can get to that. So let me get,
I'm not white. I'm just asking.
well, what's your
I'm
ethnicity?
Argentinian.
Argentinian?
Yes.
So you could be, depending on your, what, hold on, depending on what ancestors you go back to, you could be
I know.
an
but
Israelite
I
because,
just want to know why white people aren't in this list.
well, I'm going to show you. So, all right, let's do that. Let's do that. So let's go to the curses. No, I'm gonna show you. Listen. I'm gonna show y'all how do you determine who these people are. First and foremost, you go by the Bible, right? So we're gonna go back to what we was teaching before you came up. Go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and start at verse 15. So you're Argentinian. Do you know if by your fathers you go back to native Argentinian stock or conquistador stock? Well, then you could be either or. You could be, since you don't know, I'm gonna go with you being an Israelite. I'm gonna just go off of that. We'll see how. Yeah, because you obviously you want to hear the word. That's a plus.
Listen,
Most.
I gave my heart to Jesus when I was 7.
All right, well, another thing that you're going to learn today is you wanted to and you want to now, but you actually didn't, but not intentionally. You was taught wrong, but if you got time, I'll show you what I mean by it.
I know I wasn't taught wrong. I know
Well, so you know everything?
I don't know everything. I
All right, then you don't know. Check this out. One day, we all thought we was taught right? We all thought that we was serving Jesus, we was serving God, and guess what? Then we read this word, we got into it, and we ate this word, and we understood that we were taught lies. But look, let's stick to the topic at hand. You want to know why white people aren't on this sign, and how do we come up with who's these people, right? Okay.
I just feel like
I'm
God
just-
is love. That's like, I know who God is. Like, God is the definition.
Well, God's omnipotent.
He's love, though. He is love.
God's omnipotent. Do you know what that means?
He's omniscient, or whatever the
All right.
could be
We're
anywhere,
going to a couple
anytime.
different topics. So which one you want to deal with right now?
I want to say, this is what
You
I
want to deal with the love?
I just want to say God is love. And just because I don't see white people on that list. it
But
doesn't
God's
mean-
not only love.
I know, but love is
Okay.
the root factor of it. And love's perfect.
What's love?
Love is perfect.
Let's get that real quick. I'm gonna show you what love is.
Bring it out.
For example, let me ask you this.
Love is knowing that we put him on the cross, and we still didn't choose him, but he still died on the cross for my sins to save my life.
You're saying a lot. Let's not, we're about to start jumping here and there. So let's show what love is. Hold on, you said God's love, right? Don't you want to know what God considers love? Ain't that important?
What is God choose?
That's what I'm gonna show you. So let's get that 1 John chapter 5 verse 2. 5, 1, we can go 1 to 6. I was just gonna go 2 to 5. So watch this. Watch this. Watch this.
It's the book of 1 John, chapter 5 and verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments.
And what?
That we keep his commandments.
That's the love of God.
And his commandments are not grievous.
What?